Okay, let's do a quick mic check. Okay, sounds like the mic is working. Um, I had some, I was a little late to start because I had some technical issues that I'm still dealing with, but it's mostly finishing up those things. Hey, French fries, welcome. Mic is working. Thank you so much for letting me know. How are you doing today? Yeah, I don't know what, like, I'm not a fan of Windows, I wish there was I want to say I wish there was another alternative. There are alternatives. They're just not useful for me. But yeah, so frustrating sometimes. They just decide now is the perfect time for an update. Oh, and we're gonna harass you about backing up and also switching over to Windows 11. Although this computer specifically is Windows 11, but my other ones aren't, and they can't switch over because they force me to buy a new computer. Uh, yeah. Bit frustrated with them all. Anyways, all right, let's finish the setup. I will be on camera in just a minute. Um, so let's see. All right, so the beginning is going to be a little bit of setup, unfortunately, just the way it is. Um, Clearly, earlier time for me than normal. I have to take my dog to the vet for shots. Everything's fine. He just needs his annual shots, so going to be doing that. All right, let's see. Okay, face cam is a little washed out. Hold on. There we go. All right. Can we see your dog in Dresden? You cannot see my dog. I can post a picture of him in my Discord, but you cannot see him. He is hanging out with Michelle right now, and he doesn't really. Um, yeah, he's a little awkward, so no. But I can share a photo of him. And then Dresden, honestly, he is napping right now, and I don't want to wake him up because I'm worried that if I wake him up, he will interfere with the stream and drive me crazy because lately, um, that's what's been happening. Like yesterday, I I don't want to say that he is the only reason I didn't post my video yesterday until like this morning essentially, but he was part of it. He was definitely part of it because what happened was he kept losing his mind, needing attention, and I want to be a responsible pet owner. So, I try and do all those things, but yeah, drove me crazy yesterday. I love the little guy, don't get me wrong, but oh my God, sometimes you're trying to work and the cat's like he walks around the house meowing at closed doors because he wants to get inside. Just randomly meows at any closed door. Like not just one meow, like repeatedly crying. So then I get up and I go play with him and I chase him around the house and stuff like that. Yeah, Wizard, our dog, is a rescue, and he's a bit of an older dog. We rescued him. Um, let's see, he was trying to remember how old he was when we got him. I think he was 7. Uh, so he's 9 now, I think, or he was 6. I can't remember. Time just, you know. But yeah, poor guy did not have the best life originally. He's really happy now, most of the time. But he's very scared of a lot of things. So that's why he's probably not going to be on stream. He doesn't like necessarily to come into my room and stuff that much. He comes when I have treats, but he quickly quickly exits. But he's a Australian Shepherd. So he's a medium-sized dog. Every time I do a video, I'm recording with this camera. But then every time I take a photo of my artwork, I have to take the camera down from the thing up there, take the little screw thingy off, attach the new one from the tripod, repl replace the lens, switch out all the settings, take a photo, and then undo everything I just did. I really wish I had a second camera that could take good photos. The reason I don't use the lens that comes with the kit lens that I use to film is it is not nearly as sharp. I I did tests and it is way sharper than the other lens is way sharper. But I tried to use that for streaming and it was not really usable because of the focal length. But yeah. French fries, do you have any pets? Um, but I will try and show Dresden later in the stream when he does wake up, because he'll wake up eventually, I'm sure. Okay. Oof. You have 2 Yorkies. Nice. My mom has a Shih Tzu. Um, I'll be honest, I'm not sure why the extreme love for that breed, but she loves them, and a lot of people love that breed. I've never really been a dog person, though. I've always had cats. Wizard is my first, like, my personal first dog, and he's barely mine. He's pretty much Michelle's dog. All right, just getting the panel in place. Um, you know what pet I'm curious about? I know a lot of places you're not allowed to own them, so there is that. But I also don't know, like, I want to be if I ever whenever I'm a pet owner, I want to be a responsible, pet owner. I want to make sure I can provide them with the things that they need and make sure that the environment is good for them. Also, not snatching them out of their natural habitat type of thing. But I am so curious about raccoons. I know they're wild animals, but I've also seen videos of people who have them as pets, and they look so adorable. And I'm just like, how is this video, how can I watch these videos of these pet raccoons that are just hanging out in people's houses with them? Like, they look like such great pets. So I'm so curious. But they look so adorable, it's ridiculous. I have run across a raccoon in like outdoors, and it did not look nearly as adorable, but it was also scared, so that's probably a big reason. All right, almost done taping up everything. I do smaller, what's it called? Loops because they hold better if you do multiple smaller ones versus a couple large ones. The tape holds better. So, depending on if you're using oil paint, um, probably applies to other paints too. Depending on the surface that you're painting on, of course, because some surfaces won't react good to all substance. But for plastic like this, or um, you know, trying to think, anything plastic or metal, stuff like that, I use um, I use some rubbing alcohol to clean it to try and get some of the like, you know, um, well, any particulates off of it, and also any oil from my hand that might have gotten on it um, to begin with. Yeah, just some rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is also great to clean your palette if the, what's it called? If the paint is if you're having a hard time getting the paint off, it, called, it dissolves the old paint, makes it very easy to get it off the palette. And unlike water, it dries super fast, so that's nice. I'm just marking my center cross lines right now. And then I will get painting. I'm working on a figure today um, with very strong lighting because I'm, keeping the theme going. And yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of like, this one's a little different. There's more, what's it called? Purposefully, I chose one that's a little lighter, not as dark as some of the ones I've been doing so far. And it's also a bit, there's more skin color in the figure. Like it's not, uh, you know, all color lighting. So should give some variety to the paintings and the videos. Alrighty, there we go. Um, 1 second. That is not working right. There we go. Oh, worried there for a second. Yeah, close enough to head on. Alrighty. Need to, oh, that was my phone. Sorry about that. I need to be, what's it called? I have to have a lighter step. I move the camera when I step sometimes. Alrighty. So one thing I've been doing recently with my panels, um, because these panels, they're very grabby in the beginning. When I first start painting on them, the texture to them just hold like grabs the paint, which is good. I want it to grab it, but it like the paint just doesn't move far at all. It feels very dry and very yeah, it just feels very dry, and the paint, like paint that normally goes a distance, feels like it's not going anywhere. So I started oiling out my surface before I start painting on it. Now, my brush that I'm using right now does have a little bit of leftover pigment from the last painting I did, um, but I don't really care. It's not a lot, and um, I only use 5 pigments, so most of my painting is going to have those pigments in it anyways. So, since it's not very strong, I don't mind. Having said that, last time I felt like there was a little bit too much oil, so I'm trying a new thing where I'm using a, what's it called? A paper towel to move it around and hopefully absorb the excess. Yeah, last painting I had a little bit of trouble where things were just a little too wet and I was struggling to put down paint sometimes. Um, so yeah, very common when painting wet into wet. There's a few ways of handling that. You either wipe off the section, you load up your brush, um, and also painting parallel with your brush parallel to the canvas helps the paint deposit better. But yeah, all right. Oh, I didn't realize I was out of blue. These gloves are getting retired. They're too dirty and too loose. All right, and not a huge fan of painting with gloves on. But at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of getting my hands dirty. So, All right, so the background here is kind of a, I guess you would call it like a, I think periwinkle blue type of color. I'm trying to remember. There was a, yeah, that looks about right. Um, I read this interesting thing about color and language, which was super interesting. They There's a bunch of studies around this in different ways. One of them was about, I forget, I honestly cannot remember which language. There's a language that has a lot more words for green than the English language does, or maybe not. Maybe it's not that they have more, but they tend to use more in their vocabulary. Like it's more common. Um, and because of this, they're actually uh, people from that country are actually better at distinguishing between subtle variations of green than English speakers generally, which I thought was super interesting. Um, I also saw different things about blue, and if I'm not mistaken, because the color blue as a pigment hadn't been discovered for a long time, uh, it wasn't actually a word. There wasn't a word for it. They referred to like the sky as being essentially green, stuff like that. It's really interesting. Hey, Des, welcome. As it says, I'm here, but I'm working on the bathroom off and on, so I'll be in and out. No worries, Des. Good luck with the bathroom stuff. Renovations take forever. I hope it's done soon. Also, another really interesting thing about the color blue is that a lot of times in nature, things that look blue aren't blue. Uh, they they're actually, I think usually it's gray or black or somewhere around that. Um, but yeah, they're because of their physical structure, they affect how the light reflects off of them. And that's what creates that blue, that shimmery blue that, like peacocks and what's it called? Butterflies have. Yeah, apparently it's yeah, it's due to the structure of the wing or the feathers or whatever. It's not actually a pigment. So if you grind it down, like you take some of their feathers and you grind it up, you don't end up with something blue. It just turns gray or brownish kind of thing. At least that's my understanding. Uh, there's a YouTuber. Oh, what's his name? One second. Alpi Fay. Alpi, I can never remember how to pronounce his name. He did a video on lapis lazurin, the original ultramarine blue, and he got to try it and paint with it. He said it was miserable, which is really interesting. Makes me wonder how they actually used it back in the day. Where are my paints dry? What? I'm gonna have to clean my palette. I thought all this paint was still fresh because I literally used it yesterday. But yeah, apparently lapis lazuli, the original, what's it called? Ultramarine blue is really not pleasant to paint with. Yeah, LP Phase has a lot of good videos. I do recommend him. Came out with a new video recently that I didn't get a chance to watch. I've been so behind on watching content lately. Right now, I'm just filling in the background. I often start out with the background just to create the envelope of the character. This is why I also recommend having your proportions, the proportions of your canvas and your reference be the same, because then you can use the outer points, the negative space, as ways of measuring as well. It's very useful. Okay, I'm gonna have to clean my palette. I'm shocked that my paint is actually dry. I don't, I honestly don't understand how that even happened. Not entire, I think it's just so thin is the issue. It's not entirely dry, but a lot of it is. I think it's just thin. The sound of the razor on the glass just sometimes very unpleasant. Most of the time, no sound, but every once in a while it screeches. All right, there we go. So I haven't posted about this yet because I'm bad at posting on social media. But we passed the 500 subscriber count, which is pretty cool. I know in the grand scheme of things, it's probably, it's not a huge number compared to a lot of content creators and stuff, but still on YouTube, you know, what's it called? 500 subscribers is still really cool. So I need to post about it, but like I said, I'm just bad at posting. That's all. Oh, so this model, she is dressed and posed a little more on the provocative side. I am not opposed to that type of stuff, but I also don't go looking for it specifically and somewhat try to avoid it a little bit, um, especially when there's no like reason for it. I'm all for narrative and everything, but sometimes I don't know. I don't want that to be the focus, I think is the issue. So I generally try and avoid it. But there are other aspects of this reference that I really liked for specifically the theme. And it's not like crazy. Um, the pose isn't that crazy, especially given that it's on YouTube. There are limitations. So I remember when I was streaming on Twitch only, uh, this is years ago at this point. I was streaming on Twitch and I was taking a workshop, no, sorry, a class with Jennifer Balkin at the local art school. Um, and sorry, one second. What is that? Huh. Um, so I was taking a class and it was a large painting. So we were taking the paintings home and working on them and then bringing them back to the class, because we were working live from a model. And it was a nude, but she's just sitting there. You know, it's a very common thing to paint nudes in art class, in any kind of art class that deals with the figure. Very, very common. Nothing provocative about it, nothing, but because Twitch's very strong enforcement of uh, nudity, I had to put post-it notes on the painting, and that actually made it like 10 times worse. That made it so much worse than if there were no post-its, because the painting wasn't even finished. There was almost nothing there. It was just like, you know, uh, brownish blobs, but they're so over the top with their enforcement of some of that stuff. Yeah, if anyone takes art classes, I mean, I'm sure there are ones that don't do nude figures. I'm sure that exists, but yeah, pretty much every art class I've ever been to, uh, in person, they do. Very, very common. Yeah, after all, you have to actually see the body to learn how to draw it and paint it. Of course, if you're doing only what's it called? If you're doing landscapes or still lives or something like that, different story. French fries. I was rereading your message and my brain just was like, wait a second. I forgot to ask, what are their names? Your dogs. You said you have two Yorkies. What are if you feel comfortable sharing, I'm curious what their names are. Our dog, I know I mentioned it earlier, but our dog was named Wizard. We didn't name him Wizard. That was already his name, and we decided not to change it since he seemed used to it at this point. Although I'll be honest, I think sometimes he thinks his name is actually Dresden. I should get him a pointy hat for Halloween. Yeah. Well, trying to think. Yeah, Wizard. Yeah, he might tolerate the hat. He's the cats won't tolerate costumes. They're not really into costumes, but he might tolerate it. I would want to dress him up as actually, if I were going to dress him up for a Halloween, the what I would want to dress him up, most people aren't going to even know what it is, but uh, Dresden is named after Harry Dresden, the wizard from the book series. So I'm going to dress up Wizard as a wizard, dress him up as Dresden from the Dresden Files. And he doesn't wear a wizard hat. He wears a essentially like a trench coat or a duster or whatever. But yeah, I think that's how I would want to go. But no one will know why he's dressed like that. Let's see. French fry says one of my dogs loves costumes. He gets mad when we take them off. The other hates costumes and refuses to walk when she wears them. Yeah, most our cat, my cats just kind of flop over when you put a costume on them. If they can't, if it's on their head or something, then they'll just like shake it off. But if they can't, they just kind of flop over and like give up on moving. Except for Misu, she likes vests for some reason, like a little thing on her. She doesn't mind that. I think she finds it comforting actually. I do think it's funny how the cats just like it's like you disable them when you put a what's it called? When you put a costume on them or something. Yeah, they just like shut down. I think it's pretty funny. I will say if they, I do feel bad when they put a costume on them and they just kind of shut down. So I don't really do it. Yeah, I feel bad. And yet sometimes I'll try it again. And even though I know it's not going to work, but I'm like, maybe this time, maybe they'll get used to it now. Doesn't seem to really work that way, but yeah, hope. I keep hope alive. The thing I want the most is I want the cats to tolerate being in a like, you know, some kind of cat carrier, especially Dresden. And I don't mean like the kind that like a basket that you take, but I'm talking about like one that I can wear, like either a backpack or something like that, because that way they can just hang out with me when I'm painting. But they do not tolerate it, unfortunately. Something that I find interesting is that when I learned how to draw, um, I learned from I learned from observation and from books. I had things like how to draw the Marvel way, stuff like that. That was like how I first learned to draw. And I was interested in comic books and um, stuff like that. So comic books, animation, things like that. That's how I got, that's where I first like practiced and learned how to draw. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because the system, the way that those types of books teach you to draw is, very structured. You learn how to like construct the figure. You learn, you know, um, how to simplify it into circles, squares. Like there's that whole thing. And I still do that, especially when I'm storyboarding. Like that's how you draw, right? Like that's how I draw freehand. That's how I draw from imagination. When I am drawing from imagination, that's how I do it. But when I'm painting now from reference, um, I don't do that as much anymore. I notice like it's very much, kind of this abstract, like trying to find the right place for things and just kind of forming it all together, which is very interesting that it's changed so much. Hey Heather, welcome. How you doing? So what she's wearing is actually pretty much black, but I am actually lightening it a little bit because I want to give myself some room to maneuver. Heather says exhausted. I'm too old to walk home with groceries. You need a cart. You need one of those carts. It's interesting because in other countries where people walk a lot more than they tend to in America, that's actually a very common thing. Like a lot of people just they have these little carts that they take with them, and now you tell me, yeah, I know, right? They even have special ones with it's each wheel is actually three little wheels. Um, and the idea is that if you need to go upstairs, you you roll it to the stair, and then as you pull it, the wheels like kind of step up the steps. It's definitely not perfect, but if you have to go up a ton of flight of stairs, then it might be useful. If you only need to go up like a single step, probably not worth it. But because the bigger wheels are better for just rolling around in general. But yeah, no, you definitely should get one. Um, yeah, I used to when I lived walking distance from a grocery store when I in LA at one of the places I lived. Um, I used to go there and um, I would buy like it would be part of my workout routine where I would buy whatever groceries I'm buying and carry it home. Like sometimes I'd buy like big things of water and I'd just throw it on my shoulder and carry it home. But like I said, that was part of my workout. Like I considered it part of my workout for the day. Not that like it's that big of a deal for at the time it wasn't at least. I don't know about now, but yeah. But I know some people are in like amazing shape, so comparatively it probably wasn't. But you know, still walking a couple blocks with like 32 bottles of water is a bit much. I don't know how my back would handle that nowadays, but yeah, that was a long time ago. All right, let's get the brayer out for the quick roll here. I just feel like there's a lot of gaps that I want to close here. And this is an easy way of doing that. I need to take a quick break. I am out of all my drinks, basically. All my cups are empty. So I am going to take a quick break and go get some water and coffee. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. Oh, I made my coffee too hot. Can't drink it, it's too hot. Okay, so my starting sketch wasn't my best, but some of it, at least, a little off. Oh well. We have a cat friend visiting. This time it is not Dresden, but Winnie. Hi, Winnie. Hi, little girl. Hi, little girl. Oh, yeah. I know. You don't like being picked up that much. You like sitting on my lap, but not being picked up. She's so fluffy. She's actually so fluffy, it makes her look like she has short legs because all the hair hangs down, makes her legs look a little stubby. I know, little girl. Just one more minute. Look, you have such a pretty face. Okay, 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 okay. Shh. So my goal is to try and keep some of these abstract elements in the painting, but definitely not all of them. The um, the sports bra is the thing I messed up the most on for whatever reason. Totally got that wrong. I will say I've talked about AI before, and like I enjoy painting. I enjoy drawing. I don't want I don't want to use a robot to do those things. However, the one aspect of this that I do wish there was some way of, and there is to a degree a way of affecting this, but within limits, is just how fast or slow the process is. Because sometimes I just want to race ahead, and it's like, yeah, you can't really do that all the time. Like, there's a limitation to how fast you can work. Also, funny enough, a lot of times the fastest people seem to be working the slowest. It's a matter of efficiency. I've seen some amazing painters who have been painting for, uh, like when I was in art school, I think my teacher had been painting for longer than I'd been alive, and yeah, he could. It was crazy how fast he was, um, but he didn't seem to be moving fast. He was so efficient with everything. Actually, I'll literally never forget this. I do remember he was doing a charcoal demonstration, and we used to do a lot of like it was a not figure drawing class, a portrait drawing class. So you know, it was just head. He was doing a charcoal drawing. It was a long pose, and he put down. He used to use these. I think they were Conti charcoal pencils, um, and you'd sharpen it so you have a very long. Oh, what's it called? Um, it's not lead, so I guess tip. Drawing surface. Um, so yeah, he would. That's how we would do it. We'd use a razor, and you'd use sandpaper, and you'd sharpen it and get this really long, sharp smooth surface that you can use. I remember him going in and he started, and depending on how you positioned the stick, because you'd hold it like this. So depending on how you moved it, you could get broad, thin, soft, hard edges, like all of it, which is why we did it that way. And he starts drawing, and I remember I'm like, oh, based off of like the placement and everything, I think he's starting with the eye, but I'm like, that kind of doesn't look right. And so he keeps going. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's the eye socket because he's like doing the curve. And I'm like, no, no, that's not in the right place either. Um, and then he keeps going, and I realize he's drawing the ear, and he did the whole freaking ear um, in a single stroke. This isn't an exaggeration. This isn't like I'm sure he would go back and touch it up and like refine it a bit. But he essentially did the whole ear one single stroke. He just put it down, moved the charcoal around as he went through it, and yeah, just one thing. It's just like, oh my God. And it wasn't like a challenge. It wasn't, he's doing limit the amount of strokes he does or whatever. That was just doing a demo for the class, and it's just how we did it. So yeah, um, a lot of artists get fast by just getting efficient. They don't actually work faster. Some do. I've seen people work frantically, but eh, not the majority. The majority I've seen, it's slow. And I do like there's something meditative to it for sure. But yeah, I also have ADHD and am impatient. I want everything to move faster. Hi, Winnie. I'm sorry you can't sit on my lap right now. No, I'm sorry, little girl. Little girl, I will give you a little bit of attention, but I have to do it like this. No, I know. But if I don't do it like this, I can't do it at all. Because I don't want to just go sit down. See? It's not that bad, little girl. She's purring, but she doesn't like it. So funny. She's purring like crazy, but she also does not like this, which is very funny. Okay. All right, little girl. All right. So spoiled. Probably too yellow, but oh well. I'll fix it. All right, let's see here. All right, that's a good start. Let's see. So this week, just like heads up, what my goal is still to do 2 more videos. I wanted to have another video out today, so 2 today, but there's no way. But I'm gonna push into Saturday. But I don't think I can I don't think I can do 5. I think 5 this week is not going to happen. But still, 4 is something. But yeah. Also, if anyone is following me specifically on Twitter and only Twitter, I am on my way out of Twitter. I'm I'm going to stop using Twitter, so follow me elsewhere. I'm on basically every platform, but yeah, not going to be on Twitter. I haven't decided if I'm going to delete my Twitter or leave it inactive. I'm leaning towards deleting it. I just need some time to make sure I grab everything that I need from it. So, for anyone who watches this now or, watches the replay, um, if you paint with oil paints, I'm curious, what are your brightest, strongest colors that you have? Like, which ones to you are you know, which pigments or name the colors are the ones that you have that are like the brightest? Um, I have Cad Red Light, I have Phthalo Blue, which is a very strong color. Um, Cobalt Teal is a weak mixer, but a very bright color, very pretty color. Um, Phthalo Green Emerald is a very strong color. Quinacridone Rose is also a very strong color. But I was also, and of course my yellow is very bright as well, bismuth yellow, but there's also stuff like, I don't own it, but I know people have mentioned dioxazine purple, and I know there's other pigments out there that are like really strong violets that I don't currently own. And of course, there's some really, really strong oranges out there that are stronger than, brighter and more orange than anything I could mix. I don't know about green. I do think that phthalo green emerald is pretty green. Like I'm sure there's phthalo green, not yellow shade or not emerald, but I feel like at that point we're splitting hairs a little. Like, yeah, it's a little more blue, a little less yellow, sure, but you know, I'm guessing it's about the same otherwise. Of course, I have the neon colors that I've used in the past, but I'm not really going to count those. Those count like, I don't know, it's like specialty paint, like glow in the dark paint or something, like they're cool. They also won't last. So, yeah, just not kind of what I was thinking. So when painting or drawing, lighting, it's very, very strong and directional. You have to remember how, things get in the way and the type of shadows that they cast because of that. For instance, her nose is right here. And so some of this red light is going past the lip. It's not going to be that extreme once I add more detail to it. But yeah, it does create an interesting like line on her face. Yeah, this is very much a like what I would call a more traditional like, you know, beauty shot or glamour shot type of thing. Most of the photo reference I used probably wouldn't fall into this category most of the time. Well, not as much, I'd say. French fry says, so why the early upload this morning? The early upload this morning was because I finished it I finished it last night at like well last night this morning like at 5 a.m. or something or nearly 5 a.m. And I was just because I was trying to get it done for yesterday, but too many things got in the way yesterday. Um, and I do I do want to prioritize the videos or I do prioritize the videos. I work really hard to try and, you know, even though I'm not succeeding in it, but I try really hard to like get the videos done, put them out on time. I don't really succeed at that part, but the process is still there to try and do it. Um, but I also need to balance, I do need to balance life a little bit. Um, so yesterday I just had some things, you know, come up. A friend wanted to get together who I hadn't seen in a while. Um, and that, we originally were going to get together earlier in the week and kept getting pushed back because of scheduling and the weather. And so it's just like, at some point I have to just do it, right? Like and just deal with it kind of thing. So there was that, and then there were some other things that happened. One of which was Dresden was losing his mind half the day yesterday, um, which kept getting in the way. Um, and just some other things to take care of. And all of that kind of got in the way of getting it done in time. So I ended up finishing it. I finished it, I think, around 1, but then I was doing final touches because at that point it was like, well, it doesn't matter if I upload it at 1 or, 4. So I took some extra time to refine some aspects of it. Um, you know, there's a new, I don't know if it's noticeable, but I got a new song, which I've been wanting to find some new music for, uh, you know, to try out some different music. So I took some time and did that. But yeah, um, so that's why it was late. And because it was late, it was early today. And something similar happened basically um, Sunday, which is why I didn't upload on Monday. So I uploaded Tuesday instead. And like I said, I plan on uploading Friday and Saturday. Um, at least that's the plan. It is surprisingly difficult to do this, which I know might not seem surprising to some, but I thought I'd be able to. I thought at some point it would get a lot faster. I've gotten faster, but I was expecting to get even faster. Who knows? Maybe I still will. The other thing is, my friend, we were talking about, the online stuff and everything, and he did remind me that, some people, people are, there's people all over basically. So even though something goes up, like it might be going up at, 5 in the morning or whatever, for some people that will be, you know, 8, 9, 12, so for them, it's actually a great time. So, so yeah, so I'm going to try and post in the morning for, well, morning for me, uh, and then in the evening as well. Not videos, just social media posts to try and, get more engagement. I wish it was more organic and not so like, oh, I need to, get engagement and all this stuff, but, you know, I don't know how to do it any other way. Um, yeah. So yeah, so that's why the morning upload. I will say I do really love the way, um, like the light, because there's two light sources, or possibly three or four, but there's two distinct ones. I love how the light does shoot across her in certain areas. Like, the light is hitting her arm, hitting all this side of her, the red light, and hitting here. But then here she's got some hair, and it's like here it's in the shadow, and then it peeks out into the light. Basically, like her face is covering it until here where it peeks out. And it's these little glimpses of like red. Yeah, I really like that. So her hair is, she's blonde, uh, but in this lighting, it is very, very close to her skin tone. Um, when it's not being affected by the light. When it's affected by the light, it's obviously the same as her skin tone. It's red. Everything's red. Or blue, same thing. But the parts that aren't are very, very close to her skin tone. And uh, actually, I don't like how close to her skin tone it is. So I'm pushing the yellow in it just a little bit because I want to be able to distinguish between her hair and her skin just a little bit more. I said that, and then a lot of her skin over here is actually quite yellow. That's funny. It says, I'm avoiding my homework for one of those free online acrylic painting courses. I don't blame you. Stupid acrylics. Why would you ever want to touch them? I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. What's the homework, Des? You need to buckle down. You just thought you'd sign up to get you back into the swing of things. You think you got burned out after the summer portrait show? Yeah, seemed a little bit like it, but it's good to get back into the swing of things. That's good. When is it due by? Des says, my sister mentioned the other day that we need to begin prep for the next portrait show, but she doesn't want to run the project this time. Okay. So who would run it? You? She wants me to, but I can't. I mean, it seems like a lot for one person. What would she be doing? Uh, Madoti, welcome. Hello there. Hello. How are you doing today? Madoti says pretty good. Been painting for 4 hours. Nice. You'll be eating soon? Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, this says I don't have the contacts, don't have a car to run around, the gear doing the photos for people, etc., etc. Uh, yeah. Okay. So she does have a. Will she actually listen to you though? Like if you're like, okay, we need to do this at this day, at that time, whatever, will she follow through? Because if not, she's not really contributing. And if you're running it, she needs to listen to what you say, right? So if you're running it and you're like, hey, I need you to pick me up this day, we're doing this, this, and this, you know? And Des says, no, she wouldn't. Well, then I see conflict in the future that not going to work out too well, to be honest. She should just fork over the contacts and everything then. And you can always hire an Uber driver or something when you need, like, get an assistant or something. I don't know. Like, yeah. And Dodie says, what about me? I'm doing good. Early stream today. I have to take our dog to the vet to get some shots, routine stuff, but it conflicted with my normal stream time, so started early today. And yeah, other than that, pretty good. This is I read the Discord. Oh, I know, I read the Discord announcement. Yeah. Well, never know. Sometimes when people, if people do or don't. But yeah. Um, so yeah, that's what's going on. Other than that, I don't think I'll be able to get another video out today, but this will be a video tomorrow, probably, if everything goes as planned. This one has, some more skin, like natural skin tones in it, which is why I wanted to paint this. To combine the like very strong colors and the more natural stuff. Let's see. Des says we still don't have our bathroom done. She ditched the project, so I can't trust her with anything anymore. Lily says, what project? If you're referring to Des, she's talking about working with her sister for a charity, a portrait charity project that she did last year, and they're doing it again this year. For me, it's the videos, if that's what you're referring to, but I think you're talking about what's going on with Des. Des did this really cool project last year of for charity, doing portraits of people who work at a uh, it's a, if I remember correctly, a drug rehabilitation center, and some of the portraits were of the employees, some were of the people who are getting help, and it didn't state, who's who. So it's nice because it's showing more of the humanity of people, and it's also a charity, so there's an auction, if I remember correctly, and they raised money. Very, very cool stuff. She did a lot of portraits. It was really cool. A lot of really good paintings too. And yeah. Madoti said, damn, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think so too. That says, we did a charity event last year, portraits that were auctioned off to raise money for the Harm Reduction Mental Health Center. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, that was close. Nearly everything was. But yeah, it was very cool. Oh, someone got auto-modded. Interesting. So Des says they deal with drug use, AIDS, and awareness, homelessness, all sorts of issues. Des wants to know what got auto-modded. AIDS got auto-modded. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why that got auto-modded. The auto mod settings are interesting sometimes, that's for sure. Alrighty. Oof. Well, she's definitely looking like a person so far, you know. That's good. Des says young kids use it as an insult, I guess. I mean, I'm sure people use it as in some way mean, you know. But whatever. Midori says, I love the colors. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the colors. Yeah, that's what some of what attracted me to this one. So it has two very strong colors. There's a red and a blue, obviously, um, that are like lights shined on her. But then in the center, there's a bit of her skin tone coming through. Um, and unlike the previous two videos that I did where it was like the bright colors completely obliterated any natural colors. This one has some coming through, which is why I chose it. Also, I was debating between this photo and then one that was like closer up on her face. Um, I decided to do this one because I was hoping I'd be more comfortable, like being a little looser with her, you know, proportions and not worrying too much so I could get it done faster. Because if I did a portrait, I'd end up wanting to get everything in the right place, like really, really tight, because it would be, you know, her face would be taking up like almost the whole thing. So I would then want to make sure it's all correct. What will you do with the canvas once you're done? What do you mean? Um, I mean, it'll be for sale on my website. Um, like a lot of these paintings are. Hold on. You can see a lot of paintings behind me. Most of these are available on my website. Um, so the idea is I'm doing, excuse me for a second. Um, so you didn't know that. Yeah, no worries. Do I ship to Italy? I do ship to Italy. Um, Shipping is a little expensive. Not terribly expensive, just a little, just a bit. Um, I think ends up being like $50 for shipping, something like that. Um, I couldn't I couldn't figure out how to do shipping by country, so I basically have it set to like a US amount and an international amount. And on some shipments, I will, you know, I'll make a little bit of money, but on some shipments, I'll lose money. So it's kind of, you know, I try to average it out to be kind of close to what I think the shipping will actually be. But I couldn't figure out a way of doing it like specifically by country or by like, you know, like I couldn't figure out how to set it up so that when you put in your address, it calculates it automatically. I don't know. Um, that was just a little too far beyond me. But otherwise, yeah, I shipped to Italy. And the paintings from my videos, my which I are my like daily paintings. The idea is that I'm trying to do them fast, trying to do a lot of them, and so the price is reduced, so that more people can can buy them, and they're um, at a reasonable price, and you know also limit the amount of time that I put into them theoretically. But yeah, so absolutely ship to Italy unless there's some weird embargo that I'm unaware of. But as far as I know, we're at the moment we're still in good you know leaning with Italy. Do I sell prints? Not yet. Um, I was talking with Michelle about selling prints actually. We'll see. That is uh, that's a maybe in the near future. We'll see how that goes. That says at the moment, yeah, at the moment we're still in good standing with Italy, but who knows? Things are getting wacky. Midori said, because it just occurred to me that I'm poor. I feel that. I feel that. You can, if I'm not mistaken, I do have it set up that you can buy something on in payments. There's a payment system thingy, but I understand if it's not viable for you at the moment. That I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm just giving you options. I totally understand. Print, like I said, it's a I don't have that set up yet. Um, we will see. The um, the two options for prints are either to do drop shipping type of thing where they print on demand, or Michelle has a printer that I can use to do the prints, but then I have to color calibrate it all and make sure everything prints properly, and it's a whole thing. So we'll see about that. Let's see. Des says we're the closest neighbor. We're hiring polar bears to go man the border as we speak. That's funny. And Midori says, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's I wish I could offer my paintings for even cheaper. Um, I don't I one of my favorite painters is well no, sorry, favorite artists is MC Escher. And one of his things was he really liked prints because it made it made the art available for more people. So he's a big fan of prints, as far as at least my understanding. Um, so I do I do like that a lot. I just you know the problem, of course, with prints being that uh, if you sell something for less, you need to sell a lot more of it. So yeah, and I'll be honest, I like prints. I buy prints. I've bought art books. I have an art book from from a few artists like Nicholas Uribe and others. So of course I like art books. Have it, but at the same time, um, oh, there is something special about owning an original, you know. And it's not because it's like, oh, I own something that no one else owns. That's not why I value it. I'm sure that is some people. That's their mindset. That's not my mindset. Um, I just love the originals because it's the actual paint, it's the actual brush strokes. It's different, it's just not the same as a print. But yeah, just something special about originals, unfortunately. And fortunately, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, um, let's see. Midori says, no, I think your paintings prices are fair. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Des says, I'm from Canada. I was making a joke because Trump wants to take Canada for his backyard. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm sure that'll happen. It's so stupid. Whatever. Um, that says I won't hold Liad responsible. Yeah. Oh, Des says I own a Scordello original. Nice. I like Scordello. It's been a while since I've seen him around. He did comment on one of my posts a while, not too long ago, but I haven't seen him around. I am not on Twitch as much as I'd like to be though, so I may have missed it. He may have been streaming and I missed it, but I thought he pretty much stopped. Cordello's great. Really sweet guy. Great artist. A lot of fun. You DM'd him a while ago because he didn't stream in forever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think he commented that it was on one of my, I think it was on my, I don't remember. I think it was on something I posted on Instagram. He's working and still painting. He's also in a band, so he's busy. Yeah, yeah. He's a busy guy. Plus he's married. I don't think he has a kid, but he is married, or he used to be at least. I'm assuming he still is. Yeah, I own a few original paintings. Most of the original paintings I own are either uh something I traded with someone. Like I have a Dresden painting from June, which is awesome. Um, or um, I have one painting that's like a raffle that I won. Um, Still had to buy it, but it was pretty cheap, relatively speaking. And then I bought a Nicholas Uribe painting when he was still selling them for cheap uh, during his 2 years of our painted lives. And then I have a few, I have like three s- like sketch paintings or study paintings from some local artists here in Austin. One of them being Jennifer Balkin. And yeah, they they're the type of paintings that they sell at studio tours for uh I'd say a reduced price. It's like I said, it's studies a lot of times or something from, when they what's it called? Like from class or something like that. Those type of paintings. But yeah, still really really love them. So yeah. Medodi says I have a lot of original sketches from uh conv conventions. Yeah, yeah, but no paintings. Yeah, I would say I'm assuming, I don't know what it's like in Italy, but I would look for if you can look for uh like studio tours or open studios type of things. A lot of times they sell their paintings for cheaper during those. A lot of times they're not going to be like, the most finished piece or something. Like it might be a study that they did. It might be, something for a class that they abandoned or whatever. But it's still nice. Des says if I think someone might buy a piece, I've been doing. Wait, wait. Des says if I think someone might buy a piece, I've been doing them on canvas paper so I can roll and ship it in a tube. Easier, cheaper, no takers yet though. Haha. I don't know. Um I don't know if a tube is actually I've shipped with tubes before. Now I just ship flat. I think flat's also pretty easy. Um yeah. Medodi says that's a wonderful idea. I'll keep it in mind. Never knew studios did that. Yeah, a lot of artists and studios do like a here in Austin we have a studio tour. It might be ending unfortunately, but we've had it for a couple of years. And if you don't have like a studio tour, some studios do an open studio, and then uh, other places do. We don't have it in Austin, but other places, especially depending on the geography of the place, will do art walks. So the group of people go from like in an area and they go from one studio to another or one gallery to another and they walk around, going to all those different places. Um, it's a great way to see art. It's a great way to meet new people, and it's a great way to possibly buy art for a slightly reduced price. The thing too is that some of these things aren't actually like a reduced price. It's not like they're like, oh, I'm selling it for cheap today, but it's just that they're not going to bother putting it on their website because, it might not, it might not be the most finished or refined thing or whatever, which, is silly sometimes, I think, but, people try to cultivate an image and stuff like that too. So there is that. Um, but, you never know what piece you'll fall in love with. So yeah. There's so much stuff out there. It is frustrating. There's so much stuff out there and it's so hard to know about everything. And it's really hard to know like what are the things you are unaware of, right? Like it, the old thing, you don't know what you don't know type of thing, and it's very that gap is so hard to get past. Midori says true, but that's where I found Twitch is most useful. Interesting. Every time I go on stream and chat with artists, they tell me useful things like that. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. Definitely. Yeah, I can see that being very useful. You're being in Italy. Um, there are some amazing workshops in Italy. I mean, they're not cheap, but yeah, at least you might not have to pay for lot. Well, depends where you live, so you might still have to pay for lodging, but you don't have to pay for the flight. You know, that's nice. Let's see. In Luca, there's an interesting one about comics I'd like to check out. Oh, nice. But I'm in the south, so it's still far. Okay. I'll be honest, my geography for Italy is not very good. I have no idea where anything is. I'm pretty good at reading maps, but I've never had a good reason to, so or like a real reason to study the geography of, well, a lot of places, so I haven't bothered. But if I ever go visit Italy, I definitely will. I do want to actually. There's a lot of places I want to go visit. Italy is definitely high on the list. Check out the Uf Uffizi. I don't, I doubt I pronounced that correctly. It, it's the biggest art museum in Florence. Got it, got it. Absolutely. There's every great Renaissance master. Yes, absolutely would love to do that. I have this weird thing where I'm a little torn about this because like in the back of my head, I'm like, well, not in the back of my head, but like Des, automated again. Let's see. I'd like to do that then. Feel crappy about myself and skills for a month. Oh, please, Des. How are you gonna go compare yourself to a bunch of, you know, master painters who were alive and had completely different lives, half of which didn't even paint half of their paintings because they had their assistants do it and so on. Really? That's what you're gonna. And crappy got auto modded. That's the word that got modded. Medeli says it's very cool to draw them from life. Oh, I bet. I'd love to do that. Part of me wants to, you know, figure out a way to like travel through Europe and do plein air painting so I can like sell the paintings and hence pay for the trip, across Europe and everything. Um, there's a few problems with that, which is I'm not selling a lot of paintings at the moment, not yet at least. Um, and I'm really bad at plein air painting at the moment. So I have a few hurdles to get past. Just I'm just not good at plein air painting. It's a skill. It's not just, painting like painting landscapes. I'm not like an like is not my thing in general. I can do it. I've done it. I did that one bridge painting not too long ago that I was really happy with. But um, I'm not, I don't know. I get bored basically of landscapes. I prefer people. If there's a landscape with people, that's fine, but generally I prefer people. But then plein air is a totally different set of, not totally different, but an additional set of skills. Like you could be a great landscape painter and still be bad at plein air. So yeah, I still have a few kinks in the plan to work out, but we'll figure it out. Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh, I just realized what time it is. I'm gonna have to end stream soon. Let's see. Midori asks, what changes in plein air? So in plein air, what makes plein air different is than just landscape is that first of all, the environment changes constantly. Uh, the supposedly it's like every 7 minutes the lighting shifts enough to be noticeable, something like that. Um, if you want good lighting, you kind of have to go out at the right times because if you go out middle of the day, it's not usually the best lighting in the world. So if you want good lighting, well, you have to go out at different times and you have a limited window. So there's all that pressure. But then there's also, you don't have the containment of reference, right? Because I make sure that my reference and my painting are both the same proportion. It's so helpful to do that because then you can use the sides of the panel or canvas or whatever, um, and the sides of um, the reference. You can use it for measuring. You don't have that in plein air. Um, you also have all the environmental issues to contend with that, you know, can be very distracting. Um, you also have the issue of composition. You don't have necessarily the time to, figure out the perfect composition or to, adjust things and move things around. You have to do that on the fly. Um, there's also some other issues with like how we see color, and how our eyes adjust to bright light or lower light. Um, you know, you can really it can really wash out your vision. And then apparently some artists who plein air paint have actually been having some vision issues because they don't wear sunglasses when they paint, because if you wear sunglasses, it affects the colors that you see. But then that means that they're staring, you know, out into bright sunny light, and they're actually having some issues. Um, let's see. Des says, I stream a few days ago. Normally, oh, you did, Des? I missed it. Normally it's during early day North America. I was working on a digital painting for a guy from Squid Games. Nice. Um, Medodi asks, so what are the advantages of plein air? So the advantages of plein air are many. Um, for one, our eyes can see more color than the camera can. Um, you also get a better impression of the the day, the feeling. A lot of those things affect how you approach the work and kind of get in there, get into the work in some way. Um, hold on. Uh, Des got auto-modded again. Des says, I would think it teaches you how to work faster and looser, since you can't sit there for 8 hours. It does those two things as well. Yes, absolutely. I think the looser is what got modded. I think it uh, thought it was saying you were saying loser. Medozi says, I think you should adjust the settings of the auto mod. Probably. They are a bit restrictive. Yeah, I don't know. I am, um, you're not wrong, but I've also had some negative, I've had some people come in here and be, harassed, and the auto mod does help when people come in real quick, kind of thing. Um, because when they come in, sometimes they try to overwhelm you, basically. Um, Also, I don't remember how to do any of that. Been a while and I don't remember how to do it. Uh, I'm sure I could figure it out. I just don't feel like I have the time for it right now, but you know, we'll see. They are a little restrictive. Uh, on YouTube, for instance, I'm streaming, I do dual stream, and YouTube, like, these are the types of things that happen that make me not want to deal with it. Is like I set up AutoMod on YouTube, and I set it up so that if someone posts a link, to something, I will be able to, I'll be able to see the link and approve it and let it through or not, because sometimes people want to share their, you know, people want to share their, their Instagram or something, and it's like, it's done in a way that I'm totally cool with, right? We're talking about art, you're sharing whatever. It's like, yeah, go ahead, share your Instagram or share whatever, whatever that is. So I set it up so that I'll be able to approve it and, let it through. Yeah, it doesn't work. It just bans, just doesn't let it through. Doesn't even show it to me. I don't even know when it happens. Um, I tried setting it up like 3 times. And after the third time, I was just like, okay, well, I'm tired of this now. It's, not working. I have other stuff to do. I'm just gonna go do that. You know, people can always just jump in my Discord and share there. I don't know what else to do at that point. But yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, there's always more stuff I could set up, and eventually some of that stuff will get set up, you know. But I'm I've only got so much time and so much energy, so I try and focus on the most important things. I'm gonna go now. See ya. Hey, no worries. I have to end stream soon anyways. Yeah, very, very soon. I'm just trying to get a little bit more done here, although I think I've reached the stopping point. Have a good night. You know, I'm thinking about the what's it called? The videos, and I think after this painting, I think the next one I'm gonna see um, which colors I have, and I'm gonna try and use like a color that isn't normally on my palette to work with, because I'm definitely constantly hitting the limitations of my palette, which is wild because I normally don't get close to my limitations of my palette. Um, but these colors are just so bright that I'm definitely bumping up against like all those limitations. So I think it might be nice to, do a painting where I use this, use one of my specialty colors to match the, whatever colors in the reference. Can't be purple though. I don't have a purple that can do that. French fry says, why not use a secondary color palette? Not sure what you mean by a secondary color palette. I my color palette is usually, like I said, usually like I'm usually dulling down my colors because they're too strong. Um, but I do have some other color, I do have other colors that I can put on my palette as like, we'll call them guest colors, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just have to do it. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. French Fry says using green, orange, and purple as primary colors. James Gunn has a video. James Gurney has a video where he does it. Oh, I see what you're saying. So why not do that? That might be fun. I've done odd palettes before. Um, it's not, you know, it like it, you are limited in what you can do, so you just have to adjust accordingly. But I have done stuff like that in the past. Yeah, that could be fun. The one color I really, let's see. Okay, I don't have an orange tube of paint, and I don't have a purple tube of paint. See, that's where that's one of the problems. I don't have some of these colors. The other problem, and this isn't really a problem, but it's like I can mix those colors, right? So I don't have a problem painting with colors that I can mix. So um, you know, I think it would be fun. Like I've done stuff like that in the past, and it's fun. Um, my palette for my day-to-day paintings is the idea is that it is a limited palette, so it's more harmonious, and it is the most capable or the widest color range that I could figure out while being this limited. Uh, what's it called? I used to have other colors on my palette. For instance, I used to have CAD red on my palette, but what would happen is the pile of CAD red paint would literally just dry uh, untouched on my palette because I would paint and I just wouldn't need it. Like I would just do the whole painting, not avoiding it, just not ever having a use for it. So it would just literally just wasting paint. So after a while of that, I just stopped putting it on my palette. Um, so a lot of colors went through that same process where I used to have more colors and I just stopped using it. I had the same thing with phthalo green. I had phthalo green on my palette. Um, and the idea was I could make black with it because phthalo green and quinacridone rose make a black depending on the specific shades. But yeah. Um, but what happened was I would only use it to make black. And that's just stupid, right? Like why would I have green on my palette to make black? I might as well just have black on my palette. So that's what happened there. Same thing. I had cobalt teal. I was thinking, oh, it's like cyan. I'll use cobalt teal as my cyan. And it's not a good pigment most of the time. Um, phthalo blue is actually better most of the time. Uh, so then it would just sit there and like nothing, I wouldn't be touching it. And it's like, okay, I'm wasting this pigment. So I just stopped using it. I still have the tube, I still use it occasionally. Um, but yeah, that's a lot of colors. That's what happened not every color. Some colors, I used to have I used to use um, some earth tones like what raw umber and so on. And those ones I stopped using because they were driving me nuts because they dry so quick. They would dry on my palette all the time. No matter what I did, they would dry within a day on my palette. And I got so frustrated with just, constantly having to throw away the paint that I just stopped using it. All right. But let me show you something real quick, and then I'll probably be calling it a day for this stream. Yeah. But here, let me show you one of my paintings. You've seen it before. It's on the rotation. But this painting here. Um, so this painting, right? This one is, um, there's only three pigments in this whole painting. Titanium white, quinacridone rose, and phthalo green um, yellow shade. That's it. So, you do a lot of fun stuff with it. And those two colors, like I said, they mix well and make black together. So all the black, all the dark colors is just the mixture of them. So three pigments solely on this painting, but they work so well together. But yeah, you can kind of see the magenta or the rose, sorry, here, like really the almost pure color, and on her eyes, honestly. But yeah, and yeah, the phthalo emerald, you kind of see, um, you know, I mean, it's still mixed, but this is like almost the pure color with white. Yeah, and then to show you another painting, oh, where is it? I might not be able to find it. You've definitely seen it in my gallery as it rotates by, but um, there's another painting I did where I actually mixed, like I mixed my palette um, before I did the painting, because what happened was I was trying to do a secondary and tertiary palette, but I didn't have the paints for it, so I just mixed them. But I don't know where that painting is right now. I need to do some order here. Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. Yeah, this painting. So this painting, um, this one, I didn't have the actual pigments like to, what's it called? Like the tubes of paint, but I pre-mixed my palette and I made piles of um, a purple. I think it was trying to remember. I think it was was it no, it wasn't purple. It was, I used, trying to remember. I think I mixed an orange and then I used cerulean blue hue and yellow ochre, I think, and titanium white, of course. And I think that's what I used. I don't remember. There might have been something else here. I don't remember at this point. But yeah, it didn't feel all that limiting because it was just the paints that I normally use, almost just derivatives of them. I don't know if that makes sense, but it didn't feel all that restrictive like I thought it would. But it might feel more restrictive if the colors are, from the tube and a little bit different. So we'll see. I do want to buy I'm looking to buy some uh some complementary paints though. So maybe we'll do that in a little while. Anyways, all right, I do have to get going. Um, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Uh, I will be back on Sunday and I will have a video up. Fingers crossed, I'll have it up. I'll have a new video up tomorrow. But yeah, have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And that's it for now. French Fries says, see ya. Looking forward to the video. Awesome. Thanks, French Fries. Appreciate it. Have a good one, everybody.